The issue with debt is not how much debt you are in, not the amount itself, but how much that debt is going to cost you in the long run, especially if you are holding on to that debt and only making minimum payments. A lot of people tend to look past the total cost of their debt because it's not in front of their faces, right? When you log into view credit card balance or loan balance, you're just seeing the amount you owe. You're not seeing what you are losing to interest every single month. Now, let me try and elaborate on that a little more by giving you an example. Let's say you have $20,000 of credit card debt. And credit cards, as you know, have high interest rates. So let's say it's around 27%. If you just make the minimum payments on this credit card debt, it will take you multiple decades to pay off. And it's not just going to cost you $20,000. It's going to cost you closer to $80,000. But you were so hung up on how much credit card debt you're in right this second that you didn't look at the long-term effects. Let's break it down even farther. Let's say your $20,000 credit card debt, your payment was like $350 to $400. Now let's say it was $350, right? Let's just make it a good $350. Now this payment amount is going to depend on interest rate. To be honest, this isn't exact. This is more of just an example, but it is going to be around that range. So $350 a month is your minimum payment. Now here's the issue. I almost guarantee that about $275 of that is going straight to interest every month, which means you're only paying off like $75 a month towards the principal. But for easy math, let's make it an even 100, okay? So you pay $350 a month minimum on this credit card payment because that is what is due. $250 is going to interest, $100 is going towards the principal. In 1 year of making that minimum payment, 100 times 12 is $1,200. You've only knocked $1,200 off the principal of this credit card. So in 1 year, that $20,000 credit card went to $18,800. Okay, that's the balance. But here's the kicker. You actually spent $350 per month on this credit card, right? That was the minimum payment. You spent $4,200 for the entire year towards this credit card, and only $1,200 of that went to the principal. And that is if and only if you are no longer using that credit card. Now, do you see how that $20,000 of credit card debt turned into 80 grand real fast if you only make the minimum payments? So that's what I mean when I say you have to look past the amount of debt you're in. You got to stop saying I'm only in 20 grand worth of credit card debt and start looking at how much is that $20,000 going to cost you in the long run if you do not do something about it right now. As an adult, you could pay off that 20 grand fairly fast if that's all that it was going to cost you. You know, if there was no interest involved, that could be knocked down fairly quick. But that's not the case unless you have 0% interest. But even if you do, that's temporary, and that's not the example I'm giving. Moral of the story is you've got to start looking past the amount of debt you're in and start looking at what is this going to cost me financially in the long run. And I'm not even kidding. Once